Tucked away off of Highway 50 in southern Colorado lies what I think might be Colorado's most hidden gem, and that is the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. It's actually a national park, and you wouldn't be the only one if you had never heard of it before, because I think this might be one of the least visited national parks in the system. But that shouldn't be the case. This is an absolutely stunning location, and my brother Toby and I were truly blown away by it. So for this video, I'm going to do something a little different than what I've done in other videos. There's no tutorial here, there's no big concept here. Instead, I'm just going to bring you along as we walk down this trail to this absolutely epic viewpoint, and I try to take a photo that captures the true spirit of this amazing canyon.
Let's see if I need...
To get things started, I reached for my 100 to 400 to capture a telephoto shot of the light hitting the wall across the canyon. But this viewpoint down into the canyon was honestly a little overwhelming. The sheer amount of texture that these canyon walls have was, like I said, kind of overwhelming. So I shifted shortly after I took that first telephoto image to taking a panorama that showed the scene a little more thoroughly. So this is a vertical panorama taken at about 100 millimeters with 5 or 6 shots. And I really love how the light is just hitting that one little area on this gigantic rock formation. The scale of this place, I quickly discovered, was very difficult to do justice to. The short little hike down to this viewpoint that we're going to photograph is one of the most surreal hikes I've ever done, even though it's like, we're actually going to show it in its entirety as we hike down here. It's that short. But as you can see, the depth of this canyon and these rocks is just absolutely, like I've said over and over, overwhelming. When I got to the overlook, I immediately was trying to capture the size and scale of this place. And like I said before, it really is hard. This image shows the light hitting the wall opposite to us. And this is the deepest and narrowest canyon in North America, and it really does feel like it. I also really like this image because it's the only image that I captured that really shows the river down below, the Gunnison River, which carved this epic canyon. See, it's so deep and narrow, it's actually hard to see. As I really started working the scene, it became obvious to me that I wanted to figure out a way to incorporate some of the foreground elements from our side of the canyon into an image. And my first attempt was kind of starting out a little bit wider. Now, this is at 28 millimeters. It's the widest image that I took all day. And I really like how the rocks are kind of in the foreground, adding a little bit of context. And I love how the light is hitting that group of trees on that outcropping from our side of the canyon. But it wasn't quite exactly what I wanted. So then I took a panorama of essentially the same composition, except that I feel like the canyon walls opposite are a lot more prominent in this shot. And then the light hitting the trees is more of a added element kind of in the foreground of the image. And I like this image, but I didn't feel like it was quite accomplishing what I was wanting with this relationship between the light hitting the trees and the canyon wall opposite. I shifted my perspective a little bit for this third image, and I think it accomplishes what I really wanted. I love the way the light is spotlighting these trees, creating this kind of intense element, and then the canyon walls in the background just look so epic. And I feel like this angle of the scene with a little less light hitting the walls opposite was actually a lot better at capturing. You have more contrast, there's more color contrast here, and I just really like this image. I'm a huge fan of texture in my photography, but this might be one of the first locations that I've come to that almost has too much texture. The way the light was hitting the canyon walls, like you could find almost endless compositions of like these little spires and the rock texture and the light texture and the green of the trees coming up the walls. It's also a black and white paradise too. The light hitting this little rock outcropping, which like I literally like was just zooming in with my lens and just like scanning around, finding really cool compositions. And I love the way this sliver of light is hitting this rock. The thing I really wanted to capture all day was how deep this canyon felt standing there. And I tried a lot of different compositions to communicate this. But in this last image, which is another vertical panorama, I feel like I'm able to finally communicate how deep this canyon felt. And instead of like trying to show the whole image, I just let the bottom part fade into dark black. And this was accomplished by just waiting around until the light in the canyon started to fade and the deep depths of the canyon got dark. And I just love the shaft of light hitting the top of the canyon, and then slowly as you pan down the image, it goes into darkness. And I feel like this image communicates the best, at least to me, just how deep this amazing canyon was. And it also, I think, best shows the black of the name Black Canyon of the Gunnison. This image is my favorite of the day, and I feel best captures the spirit of this amazing, intense canyon.
Weirdo. So this beautiful location, I've got to do it. I got to make Kemper knows exactly what I'm about to do, and it's stressing him out.
What?
You can see it.
Up.
If you're seeing this, it means I probably didn't drop it.
If you're a landscape photographer, going to national parks is one of the best ways to get incredible images. And I recently made a video about how many of these national parks are completely mobbed out and like crazy over photographed. But here we have an example of one that like is way under photographed. And like this little viewpoint that we went to, I mean, you can see the visitor center off to the left there. We are not very far from it. It is a short little walk. So if you don't want to hike very far to capture amazing images, this would be a great place to visit. And I'm super excited to come back and hike down to the bottom of the canyon. I have lived in Colorado my entire life. I haven't really visited this location much at all, except then when I was a little kid. And I'm excited to get back and hike down to the bottom of the canyon and explore this hidden gem of Colorado and the national park system as a whole.